Hello student, this is Pallad Darbari, your host, and you're watching Pallad Darbari classes. This is chapter 4, Microeconomics class 11th, Supply. This is the second volume of the chapter, Supply. In this video, we will discuss law of supply. We will discuss the assumptions of the supply, exceptions of this law. We will discuss change in supply, and we will also discuss change in quantity supplied. Let us start the topic with the law of supply. Listen, we know that supply of the commodity is affected by many factors. For example, supply is affected by price of the related goods, technology, price of the commodity, price of input, goal of the firm, government policies, natural factors. But the law of supply states the positive relationship between price of the commodity and supply. So what is law of supply? Law of supply expresses the positive relationship between price and the supply of the commodity, taking the other determinants constant. Let us see the ceteris paribus to the law of supply or assumptions of the law of supply. In the case of law of supply, we presume that the price of the related goods are same. The price of the substitute goods are same. We presume there is no change in the price of the raw material, that is input. We presume that the technology will remain unchanged. We presume that the government policy will remain unchanged. We presume that the goal of the firm or the objective of the business is unchanged. And we also presume that the natural factor is also not changing. What it means? It means that there will be no calamities, earthquake, etc. So these are the law of supply. It means the law of supply will be applicable when these assumptions will be followed. Let us see the important topic where the law of supply is not applicable. The law of supply will not be applicable in the case of artistical goods, in the case of perishable goods, and in the case of agriculture sectors. Let us see the exceptions to the law of supply. Listen, first is artistic goods. The artistic goods are goods of high quality, such as painting, etc. Do not support law of supply. Why? Because such goods are limited availability. There is a limited availability of these goods. Next is perishable goods. Perishable goods such as meat, milk, etc. do not support law of supply. Why? Because these products have very short life period. Therefore, more unit of these goods are sold at lower price. The next is law of supply does not apply in the underdeveloped and the backward countries which face lack of sufficient productive resources. The next is agriculture sector. The law does not apply to the agriculture products. Why? Due to high degree of uncertainty attached to them. Agriculture sector totally depends upon natural factors, which is uncertain. So the law of supply is not applicable. Now the next important question. We have seen that in the case of the law of supply, there is a positive relationship between price and supply. Let us see why there is a positive relationship. Why the supply curve is upward sloping. The two reasons are there. Number one, law of diminishing marginal productivity. According to the law of diminishing marginal productivity, more and more units of variable factors are employed. A point is reached beyond which the additional returns to the variable factors start falling. Marginal productivity start falling down. This raises the marginal and the average cost. When the productivity is falling down, what happens? The cost will increase, yes or no? The supply will only supply more when the prices increase. Why? Because producer want to earn more profit. He can only earn more profit when the price will increase and the margin of the profit should be the same. If the production cost is increased because of law of marginal productivity, the producer will only supply more when the price of the commodity will increase. Selling price of the commodity will increase. So this is the main reason. When the price increases, supply also increases. That is what the law of diminishing marginal productivity says. The next is profit maximization goal of the firm. Remember one thing, the main motive of the producer is, if the main motive, because mostly the main motive of the producer is to earn more profit. If the main motive of the producer is to earn more profit, he can only earn more profit when the price increase. So when the price increase, supply is also increasing. Why? Because the profit is profit maximization. That is the main reason there is a direct relationship, and the supply curve is upward sloping. We can see over here, price is increasing. Since there is an increase in price, the supply curve is upward sloping. Now let us see the next important topic, that is change in quantity supplied. It is also called movement along supply curve. Firstly, we will discuss the meaning. Listen, the change in quantity supplied is associated with the change in price of the commodity. In the case of change in quantity supplied, the supply increase or decrease only because of change in price. We presume over here that the factors other than price, that is price of the related goods, technologies, natural factors, government policy, etc., remains unchanged. So when the supply increase or decrease because of change in price, it is called change in quantity supplied. Remember one thing, it can be represented like this one. Here QX means quantity supplied, PYT, PIG, GF, F, these will remain constant. We can see the bar above it. It shows that these determinants are constant. Only because of change in price, the supply is increasing or decreasing. Let us see the type of quantity supplied. There are two types, that is expansion of supply and contraction of supply. Let us see the graphical presentation. In this graph we can see when the price of the commodity is OP, the quantity supplied is OQ. Suppose the price increase to OP1. What happens when the supply is increasing to OP1? When the price has increased to OP1, what is happening? The supply has increased. How much? QQ1. Because of change in price, the supply is also increasing. That is called expansion of supply. And when the price decrease, there will be a decrease in supply. Earlier the supply was OQ and it reduced to OQ2. Why? Because the price had decreased from OP to OP2. That is called contraction. So we can say when the price increase, supply is increasing, that is called expansion. And when the price decrease, supply is also decreasing, that is called contraction. So when the price increase, supply is increasing, that is called expansion. And when the price decrease, supply is decreasing, that is called contraction. So I think the contraction and the expansion is clear to everyone. In the case of the change in quantity supplied, the movement of the supply is upward and downward. In the case of expansion, there is upward movement, and in the case of contraction, there is downward movement. Let us see the tabular presentation. This table shows increase in supply curve, expansion of supply, because the prices are increasing, the supply is also increasing, showing expansion of supply. Now let us discuss the next thing, that is shift in supply curve. Let us see the meaning. When the supply of the commodity increase or decrease because of change in factors other than price, it means when the price is same but the supply increase because of change in taste, because of change in technology, because of change in price of the input, government policy, etc. Price is same, but because of change in factors other than price, the supply is increasing or decreasing. It is called shift in supply curve. It can be represented like this one. Here we can say that bar above the PX, which shows that the price of the commodity is constant while there is a change in the price of other goods, the change in the price of other factors. Type, there are two types of supply, shift in supply, that is increase in supply and decrease in supply. Let us see the graphical presentation. Listen, when the price of the commodity is OP, the quantity supplied is, or the goods supplied is Q. If the supplied increase because of change in factors other than price, it is called increase in supply. Here we can say that the supply has increased by because of decrease in the price of the raw material, supply is increased. Because of change in government policy, government reduced the tax, supply is increased. The price is same, but the supply has increased because of factors other than price. That is called increase in supply. And when the supply decreased because of factors like increase in the price of raw material, the supply has decreased. Government imposes more tax, supply decreased. There is a fall in the technology or degradation in the technology, supply decreased. Price is same, but the supply has decreased. That is called decrease in supply. The movement of the supply curve is rightward shift and the leftward shift. In the case of increase in supply, there is rightward shift, and in the case of decrease in supply, that there is leftward shift. Tabular presentation, here we can see the price is same but the supply is increasing. This is the case of increase in supply. And when the price is same and the supply decrease, that is decrease in supply. That's all I have in this video. Thanks for watching. God bless you all. Dear subscribers, if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe the channel and don't forget to press the bell icon so that whenever I upload the new video, you get the notification.